All right, coming to you live from Portland, Oregon, OSCON. I'm here with Barton Harrington of CoreOS. Brian, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic today.
Cool. So CoreOS has quite a bit of buzz about it recently. Maybe you can just give a quick overview of what you all are and what you do.
So CoreOS itself is an open source Linux distro that has a focus around security and guaranteeing that updates are applied at the base operating system level. It's very, very stripped down, and it's not a general purpose Linux distro. So if you are the type of user who expects to deploy the machine and then go through and tinker with it to configure all of your various settings, it's going to be a very different experience. We try to automate as much as possible with the actual deployment process. So we have two mechanisms. One is Cloud Config, which we adopted from the Ubuntu project, and then another one called Ignition, which we created for ourselves. And it's very much where you supply a manifest to the operating system image at the time of instantiation, and then that does all of the actual configuration for you. And this some changes that we did to the Cloud Config idea is that we even do that for bare metal. So if you're loading via Pixie or VMware, the things that are not traditionally the mechanisms that you would use with the Cloud Config file, you can still actually use all of those same tools. So the goal is to give you a unified production deployment story regardless of what the underlying platform is.
Cool. And then you've got Rocket and Tectonic, so maybe a quick overview of those.
So Rocket was a containerization engine that we built specifically around the AppC spec. So when we were looking at designing larger and larger scale systems, we realized that we really needed a good specification around how containers were designed and how they were implemented. So we started working on a specification called AppC, and from that, the first implementation of the AppC spec was Rocket. Shortly thereafter, we had implementations for FreeBSD from Matej Pasternacki, who built something called 3 Coins, and then we also had implementations for Mesos through the NoseCone and implementations like Kerma for Cloud Foundry. Tectonic, though, is where we took the CoreOS base and then added in Kubernetes on top of that with the ability to execute containers via both Docker and Rocket, and are now providing enterprise support for Kubernetes atop this entire platform.
Cool. And then just to end with, can you talk about some of the customers you've been working with, and also, this is a twofer, and also the OCP?
Yes, so in the private beta for Tectonic, we've had customers like Samsung and Time Inc. and whitepages.com, like really big companies that knew that they needed the scale of a company like Google at their disposal, but still needed a little bit of help with the implementation of that. And then recently we also got involved with the Open Container project, which was founded by many, many companies. Docker is one of the premier members who's contributed their budding specification of that and an implementation of that specification called RunC. So we're going to begin to see a convergence of the AppC spec and the OCP spec into just the Open Container Foundation. And then hopefully it's just going to give more choice to users in how they actually run their containers and the specific things that they care about.
Awesome. Barton Harrington, thanks so much.
It's a pleasure. Have a great day.